everybody, and welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach. I am your host, Janie Chase, and this is the place where we're going to be chatting with the most innovative, creative, and busy people in Palm Beach. And sometimes a little controversial, I think, right?
Everybody is a little controversial.
Little bit. Right. And I'm so happy to welcome my good friend and co-host for the day, Guy Clark.
Hi.
Who is hi,
Hi, Janie.
Who is a fantastic real estate expert in town, wonderful decorator, very prolific decorator. I mean, You're so busy all the time. And just for you people who love to Google out there, you've got to Google him because he was the #1 reality star in Sweden for years and was like the Beatles and chased down the streets all the time.
Still
right,
am.
Guy?
Still am. 10 years later, I'm still being chased down the streets in Stockholm.
I'm so glad that you're here.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure.
You're really an amazing person. You're one of the people that in town that's just working all the time. And your real estate career and your design career has gone so hand in hand, and that doesn't always happen, right?
You know, it's been a blessing. I really did the interior design first for 20 years. And then a couple of years ago, I decided...
I didn't even know that, and I've known you for how long? That's crazy.
20 years in Manhattan, basically. And I traveled all over the world doing homes in France and California and Oklahoma and Spain and just all over the place. And then we moved here part-time. And Harrison, my husband, said, you should get your real estate license. You keep doing these things, buying apartments and renovating them and selling them. Just get your license. And so I did, and that's what happened. And so now it's a perfect mesh of two careers.
It's just wonderful. And I know a lot of people end up seeing the apartments that you do, even 10 years later, and calling you and saying, please come do this for me, sell my apartment, and then find me a new apartment and make my new apartment like the one that they've seen.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so tell us quickly, because I want to also get to our esteemed guest for the day.
Of course.
CEO of Palm Beach Symphony, our handsome David McClymont, who's here. But tell us really how that happened, that you ended up in Sweden and that you ended up being such a rock star there.
Oh, that's a weird story. We had a country house in New York. We took in rescue horses. And the stress of all that, I used to have a masseuse come to the house all the time. And he's Swedish and he's giving me a massage and he says, "Hey, Guy, isn't your family Swedish?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Have you ever been there?" I said, "No, I've never been there." He said, "Would you like to be on a TV series?" I said, "Okay." Just never even blinked an eye.
No auditioning, nothing.
Well, that's not true.
Oh.
His wife.
Because it would be your luck to be like, oh yeah, you're the
star.
You're
Go
the
ahead.
star.
You're the star. Right. So no, I went and auditioned. I didn't ask any questions. I was busy, and I didn't even think about it. I'm like, okay, this is kind of like a pipe dreamer. I didn't even know that it was something I would want to do. And so I went to the audition, and all in Prada, looking fabulous. And
of course,
I walked in, had all this jewelry on, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're amazing!" And I was like, "Oh, please, I'm so busy. What do you want? What is this?" And they told me that it was about finding your Swedish roots and your ancestry. And the goal really was to meet your family. And in Sweden, reality shows are not like in America. They're much more tame and focused on different things than we are here. They're not trying to sabotage people, basically. And so I did the show.
They didn't have you set up controversy. And
No. There's no controversy. It was just me and my bow ties and, just being crazy. But I did the show, and...
Did you find your family?
Yes, I found my family.
That's so fascinating.
It's quite fabulous.
Wow.
And so now I have hundreds of relatives I didn't know I had.
Amazing.
And actually, one of them is here in Palm Beach. I met my cousin, and she was my great-grandmother's sister's relative. And she lives here, and we're very close. So
I love that.
Lots of good things came out of that.
Yeah.
I ended up doing...
Had you ever done Ancestry.com or anything like that?
No. I never had time to bother with that stuff.
Right. So interesting.
But now it's blown up. And this show has been the #1 show for 10 years now since I started it. I did a Christmas special. I was the person in the local department store, Allianz, which is kind of like a Bloomingdale's or Macy's. And I was their spokesperson for interior design. I did candles and rugs and sofas and bow ties for them. I did everything. And,
wow. Incredible.
So to see my face 20 feet tall on the side of a building in Stockholm.
Which is like Times Square. I mean,
it was shocking. Completely shocking. And so when I'm in Sweden, I walk down the street and people come up and touch me. And Swedes are not like that. They're very... Well, there's a word called lagom in Swedish. It means like nothing, right?
Right.
And their Swedes never show any emotion, really. And for them to come up and touch me or talk to me, it's really surprising.
Wow.
And it still goes on now.
Amazing.
It's been 10 years. So.
You're incredible.
Oh, thanks.
What a background. Well, I'm so glad that you're here co-hosting with me.
My pleasure.
Now we're going to bring in our guest for today, Guy. His name is David McClymont, who is the CEO of Palm Beach Symphony and a great friend of all of ours.
That's right.
And somebody very well known all around town. Welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach.
Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Guy.
Hi.
We're so happy to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
You're one of those guys. Now, this is going to be difficult because you're a named Guy. So I'm
That's okay.
I got to change my.
I get that all the time.
You're going to be one of those people that everybody in town knows because you have taken the symphony from here to there in a very short time. How did you transform that? What do you think is the reason for that success?
That's a great question. I think a big part of it, I am a student of business, Janie, as you know. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the most important things in business, especially in building business, is starting with who. So one of the things that I've learned in business and building business is start with who, which are the human assets. Those are the assets you never see in a balance sheet, right? So it's surrounding you with people that actually will make you rise to new levels of success. So one of the things that we did 8 years ago was we assembled a really good team, a team of individuals that work with us, both in terms of staff and then also a very dynamic board. The other thing that we did was we did what I like to call a needs analysis. So the needs analysis was, after 40 years of being in business, what were we doing within the community to make a difference? And when we looked at the needs analysis, we realized within the 3 pillars of our mission to engage, educate, and entertain, we really weren't doing much in terms of the education after 40 years in business.
Incredible.
So we went to the superintendent and we said, before we embark on a journey to try to go out and fix a lot of the problems in education in Palm Beach County, help us understand where are the needs. So to answer your question, it's really surrounding yourself with people that take you to new, higher levels. It's setting goals. It's being very strategic and very visionary.
Right.
And then looking at the metrics. I'm very metric driven. I'm very data driven. I think that data drives decisions. So every single day we look at the data and try to figure out how can we continue to exceed those KPIs.
But just the people portion of that equation, Guy, don't you think is refreshing? I mean, a lot of companies don't do that.
Well, you don't think about what's the people behind something like a symphony, the people that actually are the cog and make it happen.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, for a long time, those kinds of organizations in town were private and exclusive and it's somebody's home before you all moved to the Kravitz Center. And, now it's something that, I know, because I know you so well, music is for everybody. And I know you want to offer this to as many people as possible, in addition to creating the educational component and then bringing in a world-class maestro, which is the other thing you need to talk about. Incredible.
I'm glad you brought that up, Janie, because you're absolutely right. For the longest time, it was close to 4 decades that Palm Beach Symphony performed solely on the island of Palm Beach, mostly from a Baroque standpoint, performing mostly in people's homes.
Right.
So it's it was exclusionary,
It
basically.
was very exclusionary.
Yes.
Like so much on the island, but the new Palm Beach has arrived.
That's right. We're here.
We're here.
So one of the things we looked at was, again, we looked at data. And we realized there's 1.5 million people that live in Palm Beach County. And while Palm Beach is a wonderful area to be, and there's obviously very high net worth individuals that support arts, why not go across the bridge? And why not engage part of that 1.5 million people to be able to experience the world class of music, to be able to experience all the great educational stuff that we're doing and the community outreach stuff. So you're right.
And the people whose lives you have touched. I mean, the kids and and the families and, I mean, when a child has a passion like music, for instance.
And they can't afford an instrument.
Can't afford an instrument.
But David has been amazing getting the instruments into the hands of these kids.
Exactly.
That couldn't normally afford a great instrument.
Exactly. How did you connect to the educational piece of your mission?
So again, one of the things we did, we went to the superintendent and we said, listen, we'd like
Superintendent
to
of schools.
The superintendents of schools of Palm Beach County School District.
Okay.
And we said, before we embark on this journey of going and filling all the holes in the Swiss cheese as far as the problems, challenges, areas of opportunity in Palm Beach County with education, help us understand where are those needs. And they sent back a list. And the list was really basic. The Conservatory School at North Palm Beach, they needed a cello. Belvedere Elementary School.
One cello.
Wow. Belvedere Elementary School had 20 brand new violins sitting in boxes, but nobody to go into the school and teach the students of that school. So we started to we started to identify the areas within the community where we could help. We started with the Title I schools. What started with that one cello, we sent out actually a card. And on the card, it said in the front, be instrumental.
Love that.
And there was a third grader that was playing a violin. And we said, by any chance, if any of you in the community have old instruments that are laying around, will you please consider donating those to the Palm Beach Symphony? Well, fast forward to today, we've donated 300 or 400 instruments to Palm Beach County students. Last year alone,
Amazing.
Last year alone, in the middle of COVID, we donated 65 instruments valued at $100,000.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. That leads to my next question, Guy, which is, and David, is, so many businesses, rolled up their carpets and closed their windows and doors during COVID. How is it that you guys were so creative and inspirational in reaching out to the community through a complete pandemic and shutdown? How on earth were you able to do that? One, and two, how were you able to keep the money coming in to keep those efforts, supporting all those efforts?
That's an excellent question. It's one that we're asked quite often. Again, going back to data, we feel that data drives decisions. We have grown our constituent database from 8 years ago, 2,000 people. So after being in business for 40 years, 1.5 million people in Palm Beach County, they only had 2,000 people in their constituent database. Today, we have 50,000.
Oh my gosh.
So what we did was we went
Fabulous.
to those 50,000. We surveyed the 50,000. We said, listen, we feel very passionate that we have to continue to sustain the notes of our mission. Will we have your support? We provided 3 scenarios. One is we could do nothing. We can go away, shut down the garage door and padlock it and go away for 18 months until this thing goes away. Or we can be innovative, creative, and try to figure out how we sustain those notes. And what the data said, which was really surprising, 66% of our constituents said, you absolutely cannot go away. So now that we had
You've
that data.
touched everyone's lives.
Right. We said, okay, well, now we have the support of our patrons.
Right.
Now let's figure out a way that we could creatively, safely, obviously we had to be very safe, continue to sustain the notes of that mission. So we mobilized with our music director, George Schwartz, our board of directors, and the entire team. And we said, okay, how can we persevere with this? And that was what allowed us to go and hold the 5 concerts at the Kravis Center, all of which were done virtually, reaching as many as 20 different states, 3 different countries. But I do need to go back and mention something that was sort of pivotal for us.
That's kind of amazing, though. Don't forget your thought, but that is kind of amazing that you did that virtually and you reached that many people.
Well, and here's why. So one of the things that we did every single year, as you know, we hold the annual Holly Jolly Luncheon. It sells out at the Beach Club every single year. Obviously, with COVID, we couldn't do it. The MC is Liz Carantes, who works for CBS 12, which is owned by Sinclair. I went to Liz and I said, I have a really big ask. And she said, what is it? I said, is there any way possible that we could do a free televised concert on Sinclair? She said, let me see. That turned into Sinclair saying yes. We did the Sounds of Season holiday concert, started off with 1. We got first place in the time slot. They came back to us and they said, wait a second, we think we want you to do actually more than 1. We actually run another one. We're going to put you in prime time up against It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my gosh.
I said, why would you do that? We're going to get killed.
Did you know any of this? I didn't even know this.
I did know some of this. I didn't know about
I didn't know about this last one. Yeah.
So we run the Sounds of Season up against It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
We miss getting first in prime time by 0.2.
Wow.
So they then go on to do 4 more televised concerts. We did 6 in total in the month of December for the Sounds of Season. The reason I mention that really allowed us to get to the patrons in such a way to let them know temporarily it is okay for you to experience our art form through television.
So
until we can write out that story.
How do you continue that? I mean, or do you continue that?
That's a great question, because now we've realized, and not just us, but all of the arts organizations that were forced to pivot and start getting into the digital domain, that you can't ignore that. So you're absolutely right. So one of the things that we're exploring right now, we will absolutely stream all of the concerts.
Good.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be also creative to make sure that maybe we do it in a geographic area so that it's outside of our viewing area so that we still encourage people to come to the concerts in person.
I think it's men are just COVID aside, they got to stay home. But when COVID is over, they were very happy sitting there when they didn't have to get into a jacket and tie or a tuxedo.
Well, exactly.
Well, that was another thing we did, that part of our membership program is that, as you both know, we have these dinners before or after the concert. So now we can't do the dinners. So we got creative, and the team said, what if we go to 3 local restaurants that are geographically located where our donors live and ask if they would create programs to allow people to either pick it up as to go, or we would deliver it to their house. So now our members have the access to be able to watch the concerts live stream from their living room.
I mean, it's so great.
And we were working with 1000 North Cafe Chardonnay in Palm Beach Gardens. and the Colony Hotel delivering dinners.
It's like pre-gaming at home.
Exactly.
Right? It's before the big Yankee game.
So are you going to continue those exact parameters as you go forward?
We will not continue the dinner aspect, but we will definitely continue with the live stream.
Super exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have to do dinner at your house or somewhere.
Anytime.
Yeah, let's do that. So I think one of the really exciting things that you guys have done is you've brought in this world-class maestro. I mean, you got to talk about how you do that search. How do you get somebody like that? And what do you think he's done to add to this already, incredible organization?
That's another very good question, and I could go on forever about that.
Please do.
It's very interesting. And there's a couple more minutes. There's a little bit of serendipity with this. So to give you some background, our previous music director, who was incredible, was really rising. And he was very successful within the opera space. So 3 weeks prior to our season-ending concert at the Kravis Center, I get a phone call from the music director. He says, "David, I have good news and I have bad news." I've got bad news. I said, "Give me the bad news. What is it?" He says, "I can't conduct the final concert in 3 weeks at the Kravis Center." And we had incredible attendance.
Of course.
So I said, "Okay, what's the good news?" He said, "The good news is that I've been invited to conduct the Vienna Opera."
How do you say no to that?
How do you say you can't?
You can't.
You can't.
And you can't. So he said, "I will do whatever you want. I know that I'm under contract. If you want me to come and conduct the final concert, I will be happy to. I just want to discuss it with you." So I went to the board and I said, "Listen, this is this young Spanish conductor. This is his dream.
Staatsopera." I'm not saying that the right way, but that's
let him go conduct the Vienna Opera." So I had been in discussion for about 2 or 3 years, just from a colleague standpoint with Maestro Schwartz. So I reached out to him and I said, "By any chance, are you going to be available to conduct on April 19th in Palm Beach?" He said, "I'll get back to you tomorrow." He calls me up the next day. He says, "I'm available." I said,
he's in New York or Miami now?
He's in New York.
He's in New York.
Yeah.
So he says, "Let me look at my calendar. I'll get back to you the next day." He gets back to me the next day. He says, "As luck would have it, I'm actually available." I said, "Amazing. Okay." I said, "Can you come conduct?" He said, "I'll come conduct." Little did I know that at this exact same time, he was interviewing to become the director of orchestral music at the Frost School of Music at the University of Miami.
Oh my God.
So he couldn't tell me. So he comes and conducts. And to your point about what he has done with the orchestra, a lot of people think that we have a new orchestra or new players, new principal players.
He's amazing
for the most part. So the first rehearsal that we do at the Kravis Center, and I share this story all the time, he comes in, works with the musicians, and for 15 minutes, he starts working with the string section. And he's wanting them to do something in terms of a cadence and a sound for 15 minutes straight.
He's warming them up. He's not
only warming them up.
He's in the bullpen, like the bullpen pitcher.
It was the technical aspect of what he wanted to hear.
Right.
Wow.
So for 15 minutes, he's pushing them to the point to where you could see their body language was almost getting to the point where they were starting to feel defeated, right? Like
who's this guy think he is?
Maybe I just can't do it. Maybe it's not in me. But he knew that it was in them.
Of course.
So after 15 minutes, he gets them to rise to the occasion. They finally do what he wanted them to do. And the whole entire orchestra stands up. There were about 80 musicians and applaud. He raises the hand, tapping the bows.
Wow.
So I share that story because that was sort of a defining moment for me, being a leader, saying not only is he obviously very talented from a musical standpoint, he was principal trumpet in the New York Phil under Leonard Bernstein. He was at the Seattle Symphony for 30 years. He helped build Benaroa Hall.
Amazing.
Has
incredible
published a book, 7 Emmys,
so
14
impressive.
Grammys. But it was that
he
leader.
has 7 Emmys?
7 Emmys.
Wow. And how many?
14 Grammy nominations.
Hello. Not bad, huh?
That's pretty good in our little backyard. Yeah. That's awesome.
So it's been amazing. In addition to that, he has great relationships with the biggest guest artists in the world that he just picks up the phone and says, "Would you like to come play?"
I love that.
And the synchronicities here are, you can't deny them, right? I mean, the fact that all these things have kind of fallen into place, it was almost like all of this was meant to be,
Well, I mean, it's a very good point. I think part of it, Janie, was what I like to call a staircase. Because honestly, if we had not grown the educational component, if Ramon had not improved the music programming, the music quality from when I arrived in 2014, we would never have been able to get somebody like Jared Schwartz. But because we were at a point where he could see the potential, we were able to get somebody like that.
Right.
Then he comes in, starts working on the programming with the musicians, the music quality, the technique, elevates the programming itself, the actual programming. I mean, we did Beethoven 9.
Yes.
Right? 80 musicians, 120 singers.
The staircase is what you're saying is
correct.
This step and then that step and then
and
this
then once
step.
he came in, he took us to a whole entire new level.
Incredible.
Because of his background and
amazing.
ability.
So do you find a different group of people have started to follow the symphony because of him?
We absolutely do.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So attendance,
We do.
donations, perhaps.
And people from Miami have come up,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm kind of
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah. So our organization has grown leaps and bounds. When I started, we had an annual budget of $700,000. We were spending $875,000. So we were losing $175,000 per year. We're now a budget of $3.2 million, to your point. And we've been able to put $2 million back into an account. They only had $100,000. And it's because of exactly what you said.
Right.
We actually have a lot of donors that now come to us and say, thank you. And we say, thank you for what? And they say, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for getting Maestro Shorts. Thank you for elevating the music, because they wanted to come before.
Of course.
But they didn't think that we were at the level that deserved their attendance.
Listen, the people that are coming to this town want
top quality
cultural institutions here.
Absolutely.
But they
really
expect
do.
it.
They expect it.
Right.
But the thing that I'm so, and I think that our audience is going to be really interested in as well is your leadership skills and your vision. And where do you think that all comes from?
David's not coming from a music background necessarily. You're coming from a business background.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking a different point of view to approach everything, which is what you were talking about. And I think that's been the problem with most arts groups.
Mm-hmm.
They're run by artists who are not necessarily business people.
Right.
It's a very rare thing that you have an artist who is a business person.
Right.
So,
but David's leadership skills, I think, are, I do think they're different. I think if, the investment banks which is, kind of my perspective, just because of, my husband's background and other corporations, I think if a lot of those companies, through 2008 and before that focused on the people rather than the bottom line, then maybe they would have been in a different shape and their path would have been different.
Right.
I just think that your focus on people, I think, is really refreshing and different. And I think, it wasn't that wasn't as important as it is now post-pandemic. Don't you guys agree with that, or
I agree, and
am I making too big of a deal of that?
No, I get it. I totally.
You're not.
agree with
If
you.
I reflect back on my career, I look back at the fact that, like many leaders, I've had some great mentors.
Yeah.
Right, and along the way, I had people that taught me that one of the most important things in business are what they call the 3 Ps: people, process, and product. Right, and they talk about it all the time, and I think it's used very loosely. The second thing is culture. And I'm a huge student of culture. I firmly believe in culture, right? So if you identify the 3 Ps, people, get the right people on the bus, like Jim Collins says in Good to Great.
Right.
Then once they're on the bus, make sure they're seated in the right seat.
Right. And that they're comfortable.
Make sure they're comfortable. Make sure you have the right processes, and make sure you have the right products. So
and lock the door.
And lock the door.
Yeah. Don't let them off.
But
the
then
bus.
you also look at culture too. I spent 15 amazing years working in a wide variety of positions at a private Jack Nicklaus Country Club, Bear Lakes Country Club.
Yeah.
And I learned while I was there how important culture is. So another thing that we did with the team and with the board was we instilled what I call the 1-page strategic plan. Mission, vision, core values, culture, behaviors, and strategies. So when you have that, you start to get people now that are on the bus or in the boat rowing with the same velocity and rowing with the same synchronicity. And it's not always perfect, but at least it sort of guides the ship with the right bearing.
But you make every member of the team feel that each of their jobs is crucial and important. And I don't think they are, but a lot of leaders don't make everybody in, along the way feel that way. I mean, you make people feel really important. And I think that's part of your success, don't you think?
Right, of course. But I think on the other hand, David also has an incredible way about him personally that he can engage. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Yes, he's so charming.
Of course, but not only with the people working with the symphony, but the people that support the symphony. Like myself, he'll reach out and engage and try to get us more engaged in the symphony. So I think that's many facets to David that helped this whole organization grow
be so
and prosper.
Successful.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We're fans, David.
We're huge fans. I mean, just so, I think everybody in town talks about you, really, because you've just done an amazing job. And the symphony is one of those organizations that when people, I know my friends that have moved here and they say, what should I be involved with? It's the first thing I say.
I do too.
Yeah. Because it's not only just a great group of people, but you feel like you're really a part of something. You're not just going to the gala.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. That was another thing we really worked on, was trying to create community.
Yeah.
Right? Because
And you
8
did.
years ago,
You did,
we
yeah.
came
Done it.
from where they were just doing exclusive concerts at people's homes in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And now I want everybody to have access to it. But then, more importantly, when people do come in, I want everybody to feel like they are part of that community. The other thing I want to say, and I know I say this on behalf of the entire board and staff, is it's also thanks to people like both of you that support us. It's a recipe. If we didn't have great dynamic supporters like both of you, we would not be able to carry out our mission as well. So thank you to both of you for everything you've done to help us.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no question about it. So what do you think about? I know you grew up in Palm Beach County. You're a major surfer, a huge triathlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
triathlete, and you love competition. You work hard at everything. Are those where? Well, what in your background do you think lends to that?
I think they coincide. I think part of why I'm so driven, regardless of what industry I work in. When I worked at Bear Lakes, I had the same drive and passion. When I was CEO at Loggerhead Marine Life Center, I wanted to save as many turtles as possible. And now as CEO of the Palm Beach Symphony, I want to continue to scale this organization. I grew up playing sports. And my dad was a rather accomplished athlete. He played baseball at a very high level.
There
he
you
played
go. Yeah.
hockey for
Yeah.
the Montreal Canadiens, and he coached me
No,
in baseball.
really?
He did.
Wow.
Very, very good hockey player.
Wow.
And he always used to say to me, dress the part, act the part, be the part. And he would say it over and over and over. And as a young child, I said, dress the part, act the part. And then all of a sudden you get a little bit older and you realize the
has
light bulb
meaning.
goes off, ding.
Oh yeah, that
So
guy,
that's
that
sort
guy
of,
knew
I
what he was
think,
talking about.
then
Yeah.
transitioned into be competing in surfing. And then competing at surfing was a really exciting journey for me because I started at a
Amazing.
young age with getting sponsored with big name brand companies and competing. And I wanted to be the best. And I strived to try to be the best. And then I think it was interesting when I realized I'm never going to make a career out of this. It was sort of funny from an amateur standpoint to compete, but I need to grow up and go get a real job. I still had ingrained a lot of that work ethic that then carried over into work to be dedicated, to show up on time, to do the right
Right.
thing, to have ethics, all the
Right.
things that
All
seem
those
vanilla,
things.
but they're really important.
A lot of people don't necessarily have that. So what can we expect from the 2022 season? And so tell all of our listeners what's
Sure.
what's coming.
So
We're
our
so excited.
First concert is November 7th at the Kravis
Yay!
Center,
Yay!
Tchaikovsky 5.
Fabulous.
Which is
Yeah.
incredible.
That is.
Yeah.
Amazing programming. And Helene Grimaud on piano. Brilliant pianist. And then we'll
So
close out the
envious of
season
people
in
that could do
April
that.
with Midori, who was actually just
Mm.
given a Kennedy Center Award.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that on
Yeah, I
TV.
did. I did. Yeah. That's
Fantastic.
fantastic. Wow.
Wow.
What a
We're looking
season
forward
we're
to
gonna
it.
have.
Thank you.
Incredible. Is it a full season?
Full season.
Complete full
5
season.
Masterworks concerts. Yep. We still have our
In-
Holly Jolly, which is taking place at the Beach Club in December. That's almost sold out.
28th, right?
Right.
Of October.
No,
No.
it's actually, that's the gift
Oh, that's the
gathering.
gift giving.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So December is
We
the
have to get a
Holly Jolly.
table for the Holly Jolly. We've got to do that.
Yeah.
We have to get
It's
that.
probably sold out already. We better find
It's already
out.
sold
I
out.
might be able
David,
to-
is it signed
I
out? Can you
might
get
be
us
able to-
in?
I
Can
might
you
be
get
able
us
to-
in?
I may know somebody.
We're a little unorganized
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that kind of thing.
We've been a little busy, right? Yeah. Sign us up.
Exactly. Okay, we can't let you go, right, Guy, without finding out what about Palm Beach you love, all your favorite spots.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Your favorite eats, your
Sure.
yeah,
I
just
think there's-
ramble, you know.
Well, here's the funny thing about Palm Beach. I was thinking about this as I was coming up for this great podcast. There's so many, right? If you think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, there honestly are so many. I was thinking about, I think it depends because I could go anywhere from Surfside Diner to have an omelet,
Mhm.
right? Which I love.
Yeah.
I love Brick Tops for lunch.
Right, me too.
I love Palm Beach Grill for dinner.
yeah.
I love Honor Bar for lunch. I love
Mhm.
San Ambrose to have coffee. Sometimes I'll go to San Ambrose.
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
Incredible breakfast.
Incredible.
That's
And
my
sometimes-
office.
My office too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe we're actually
I'm
subletting.
sitting back in the corner at
Are
table
you?
41.
Are you really? Okay.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what I will do. I'll go have breakfast.
Exactly.
Look for me in the corner.
Okay, I will for sure.
yeah. That's so funny. So you
Uh,
love Palm Beach Grill. You love San Ambrose.
Yeah, Palm Beach Par 3. I love to play golf there. You and I are golfers. I think
Right.
we've actually even played there, right?
Have we played there?
Or was it at Bear
I don't-
Lakes?
Oh no, yes, we did play there,
Right.
and then we played at Bear Lakes. Yeah.
So I'll play golf.
David's
I'll
a
play-
great golfer, guys.
I am
what
not
a
a
great
golfer.
golfer. Wow. Yeah.
So Palm Beach
What's
is
your
unique.
nickname for me on the golf course? Hansy. What?
Hansi von Rippington.
Perfect.
But you have to say it
Hello.
that way. Janie can play golf. The first
Janie
time
can
I
do
played
anything.
with
So
her,
funny.
you're
Oh
right.
my God,
You're right.
it's so
She's very
funny.
talented.
Yeah.
But when I finally realized that she could play golf, I had to change her name. I said, Janie, you're no longer Janie. You're now Hansi von Rippington.
Right? Perfect.
Oh,
I'm
my
going to
God.
remember that one.
She hits it
so
a mile down the center.
Oh my God. Not like you. Are you kidding? He and Gene hit it like a mile. I mean, I'm embarrassed playing with the boys, but it was fun. It was nice you guys had me. But anyway, so you take people to par 3. If you had somebody to come in from out of town, right? I mean, how would you spend the day?
How would I spend?
Because I think that kind of helps new people that are moving to town, and people that are listening, and
that's a good question. I think there's so much.
It depends upon who it is.
I was just going to say it depends on who it is. It depends on
if
the
it's
time
a
of
surfer
day.
dude, you're not going to take him to like, I don't know.
I guess that's
no,
true.
but that's
it depends,
interesting. But that's the great
right?
thing about Palm Beach, though, right?
Yeah,
is that you can go to Green's Pharmacy,
exactly,
which is amazing.
I was there yesterday,
right?
Fantastic,
and see incredible people, great food.
Right.
You can go to Surfside Diner. You can go to Clock Tower.
That's right.
For the beach.
Yeah. Betty's on the beach.
You can go to the Norton Museum, which is amazing if you have somebody that's in out of town.
That's right.
There's so much to do.
I know.
And then in terms of restaurants, there's a lot to do too. The Flagler Museum.
I don't know how we support all these restaurants. I mean, it's kind of amazing. We're just a tiny little town, and we have all the best restaurants in the world right here.
Amazing food. I think. I just think that that the way Palm Beach was when my parents were here is just. I mean, obviously, this is the new Palm Beach. Theirs was a little bit more staid and definitely more formal. I think the casualness of our town is a surprise to a lot of people that come here. I
agree with that.
They think that we're like, at black tie parties. Yeah. It's people are working hard and they're passionate about things and they're great philanthropists here. And
we can do all that.
Yeah, we can do exactly.
Yeah.
That's just the point.
Right.
For a small town, we've got everything available to us, and you can pick and choose and be anybody you want to be and start all over. And most people come here to start all over, which is interesting when you think about it.
Point.
Yes. That is true. People come here to start over.
They start all over.
I know. What I love, and I say so often when I talk about Palm Beach, is that the baby strollers are replacing the wheelchairs. And I think in terms of your organization, there's so many new young families here. The schools are packed. People are leaving New York and LA and Atlanta, and the pandemic kind of drove that train. That there, and all those people come from cities, and they're sophisticated, and they want important cultural institutions like the Palm Beach Symphony.
They don't want it. They need it.
Yeah.
They don't even know that they need it. They expect it without saying anything.
Right.
I mean, I've had a lot of friends move here, and the moment they get here, they're like, okay, show me the opera, show me the symphony, show me blah, 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 all the good shops and everything.
Right.
They get here expecting those things.
Right.
Because
you're so right, Guy.
True.
It's very true. Exactly.
And I think that's why the symphony in particular has upped its game to the point where they have evolved to the level that people expect here, and that's where I think the ultimate growth has happened.
Yeah,
because that's what people expect, and that's what they're giving them, which is fantastic.
It's interesting you talk about that too, because if we go back to and look at the data, when I referenced the 2,000 people that were in the original database starting back in 2013-14, the average age was 78. So
the average age.
Average age.
Oh, stop.
Wow.
Really?
78.
What year was that, David?
2013.
Okay.
But of the 2,000 people that we had in our constituent database, today we have 50,000. The average age is 57.
Yay.
So it's to your point.
Okay.
That's good.
It. Yeah. Perfect.
And you're right. I went to a Urban Leadership Institute conference about 5 years ago. Don't ask me why I ended up there. But it was really interesting. It was very fascinating.
Yeah.
Right. So when I went there, they did this survey nationally as to what are the top 10 things people look for when they move to a city. Take a wild guess what number 3 was.
The symphony.
Culture.
Yeah.
And I walked away from that saying, wow, to your point, they demand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They expect it.
After education, schools, and how good is the education? Housing.
And then culture. Yes.
Well, what's so great about that is that we have you. We have the symphony. We're so grateful that we have you, and that kind of organization attracted somebody like you and of your caliber. And we're so happy to have that kind of institution here and to be involved.
Yay.
Right? It's really exciting. I'm so glad you had the time to come join us today.
Thank you.
And be a part of
It's been fun and
Perfectly Palm Beach.
Absolutely. My
just
pleasure.
It's so great.
Just like talking in our living room, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So November 7th is the very first.
November 7th, 3 p.m., Kravis Center.
Awesome.
For more information, you can follow us online, www.palmbeachsymphony.org.
Awesome.
Excellent.
You're terrific. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.